Carrie, stand up, please. Come on over here. Hello, Carrie. This is Carrie Roundy. Where are you from?
Katy, Texas.
Katy, Texas. Tell us your story, will you?
Sure. Do you want me to hold this?
No.
Okay.
That way I can hold you. So that's the whole idea.
Okay. Gosh. When I was 9 years old, I was diagnosed by the doctors with what is normally considered an old person's disease, juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. And it was quite devastating for me and my family. And at the age of 15, I was permanently confined to a wheelchair, and I was told that I would never walk again. And I remember when I was 9 and being diagnosed with this, that I was like, okay, I can never be happy now because I hurt all the time. It's just impossible. And yet when I got in the wheelchair, it was like, okay, now I can never be happy because I can't walk. If I could just get back to walking, that would be awesome. And I was able to start doing just a little bit at age 18, but I still had to rely on the wheelchair for 15 plus years. My mom found out about Nikken, and my husband and I were a little closed in the beginning. And after 2 years, I finally had a really bad case of hives, and I didn't do a lot at home. My husband did all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the laundry, all the grocery shopping, everything. And I was blessed to have 2 beautiful sons, and I was able to nurse these boys. And when I had these hives, my doctor said I was going to have to stop nursing and have a bunch of allergy tests. And for me, because that was my only significant job that I could do better than my husband.
Well, let's hope.
It was a real threat to me and my self-worth to think that I would have to give that up. And so I called my mom and said, okay, I've hit rock bottom. You've been telling me about this stuff for the last 2 years. What can you do? And she was able to knock out my hives in 3 days. So that really opened my mind. And then I heard a tape about the joint product, and I started taking 18 a day. And in 55 days, I was able to run for the first time in over 20 years.
Wow. Wow. Let me back up a second. The hives went away. What were you using for the hives?
The far infrared kept them at bay, but the liver support knocked them out in 3 days.
No kidding. And you're telling me if I take 18 joints a day for 55 days, I'll actually be able to run again? That would be wonderful.
If you have joint challenges, maybe.
Last time I ran, it was to the bathroom, I think. What are you laughing about? Same thing with you, huh? And so how's it been since that time? What are you doing now?
Well, one other thing that people really like me to mention is that when I was 20, I was also diagnosed with the bone density of an 80-year-old, and I had a new bone scan just September of last year, and I no longer have osteoporosis, according to my bone scan.
Wow. So, would you recommend these products to other people?
Absolutely, and I have to say that Nikken has not only changed my physical health, but it has changed so much of my emotional health. I've had so many kind people who've either gotten my CD or heard my story on DVD and come up and thanked me and told me how much they appreciate me. And it really dawned on me yesterday how significant that is for me. When I was in high school, and I was first in a wheelchair, I had nobody to sit with at lunch. And the counselor wouldn't even let her aide push me to lunch. This was before my electric wheelchair. And my mom came up to the school, and I was so embarrassed. Imagine being 15 years old, and your mom comes to the school, and she's like, well, I'm going in that lunchroom and finding somebody you can sit with. And I was just mortified. I was like, oh, no. And now in Nikken, I have people coming up who want to take me to lunch. The wonderful people in Northern California who flew me out there to speak. That meant so much to me. Thank you. And I just want to thank all of you. You've been such a wonderful family to me. It's when I got arthritis, I felt like it was this plague that kept me away from people, and now people want to stand next to me. and take me to lunch and fly me places. And it has truly changed my life. My feelings of self-worth and my feelings of gratitude to this company are eternal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for coming up. Isn't that great, huh? Wow.
Here we are in Chicago, Illinois, with Dr. Stanley Bogus, a podiatric surgeon, been involved with Nikken for 13 years, from Erie, Pennsylvania.
Right.
And, Dr. Bogus, you were one of the first healthcare professionals to embrace Nikken, the company, and its technologies.
Right.
And I know that you have a very, very powerful story. You have a lot of credibility. Tell us about how the products have changed your life.
Well, Roger, I'm delighted to tell you because to me, it's my obligation to tell how the products changed my life. I was a skeptic at first. I really didn't want to get involved with the business with Nikken, but Dr. Lampard introduced me to Nikken, and it was through the efforts actually of Sherry Clark, who was telling me about the product experiences in Atlanta, Georgia, and she was coming from the heart when she told me this, and I reluctantly said, well, I'm going to become a distributor that night. But what they didn't know was that I was really sick. I was fatigued. I ached throughout my whole body. Every joint, every muscle ached. My hands were going numb. I couldn't do surgery. I couldn't wave bye-bye with either hand. And when I went to bed at night, I was so fatigued that I couldn't turn over. I would have to sit up, decide what side I was going to sleep on, and then sleep on the other side. And when I woke up in the morning, I'd prop myself up, and then I would just get on with the day. I would wake up at night with numbness and icy cold hands and that kind of thing. So I really didn't have a quality of life. I felt every bump in the highway when I drove my car. And I had to sell my practices. I had 3 practices in the area. Well, what happened was I was treating myself. I was getting all the non-steroidals that you can get from the drug salesman, drug reps. And so nothing was helping. I actually was giving myself cortisone injections on either side of the breastbone to relieve some of the symptoms that I was having. Well, I checked into a clinic, saw 28 specialists over a 2-year period of time, and one hand surgeon wanted to fuse my wrists to avoid the motion. And I asked him what happens if that doesn't work. He said, well, we'll release the nerve in your wrists. What happens if that doesn't work? He said, well, then we'll fuse your neck, because I had some challenges with disc problems back there. And when I asked him what happens if that doesn't work, he said, then you have to learn to live with it. And that was a quality of life that I had. And I really I had no ambition or no desire to live a long life. I mean, I really loved fixing feet. I thought I was going to do it until I was 125 and then go on part-time, because I really loved it. But when I became a distributor, I bought my products, and I got my sleep system. And the first night on the sleep system, when I lay down on that bed, I felt the tingling, and I said, boy, there's something really going on here, and I fell asleep. Like a baby, I slept for 4 solid hours. First time in 12 years I slept that long. I mean, that length of time. And I woke up about 2 o'clock in the morning with a headache because I didn't use the pillow. And I don't know why I didn't use it, but I didn't use it. But anyway, took a couple Tylenol, went back to bed, and slept like a baby until 7 o'clock in the morning. And when I woke up, I literally jumped out of bed. I mean, I could not believe it. I was so excited that I was so excited about what happened, And what happened was, didn't take care of all my problems, my fatigue, but the fact that I had a wonderful night's rest. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. It was just like being reborn. So I started to experiment with the products on myself, and I taped. We didn't have bracelets at that time. I taped minis on my wrists and on my shoulders, on my knees. And one time I ended up having 55 minis taped over my body. So, and then, then that was it. I started to get better. I mean, I started to get a life back together, and I was just so excited. I started sharing the products with people.
The Chinese say that we're morally obligated, Dr. Bogus, when we've got something good, to share it with other people.